Hello and welcome to another wobbly camera guy video. Today's video we're going to be looking at this Russian transistor radio. It's a transistor radio which I think is from the early mid 1980s. I could be wrong on that, and if you know any better please let me know. I cannot pronounce this. It might be Kotchat, it might be something completely different, and again please educate me on this if you know a different list. But anyway, this is one I picked up from a car boot sale a few years ago. I only paid £3 for it, so it doesn't cost you an awful lot, does it, just to enjoy yourself with these radios. It's a very basic one, as you can see. I don't think they'll win any design prizes in this, but having said that, it is a little unusual. Medium wave and long wave I believe, and the actual band switch I believe is on the back here. In Russian, if you can see that, if I get the strap out of the way. You've got the Russian for one of the bands and the other bands. Not sure which is which. If I can get it working, we'll actually find out what that is. I did briefly try this. I put some AA batteries in and it wouldn't work, but I've got a sneaky suspicion that it actually might be the actual contacts themselves that have oxidised on the actual battery contacts rather than the radio itself at fault. So it's got a little rattle inside, so I need to find out what that is. So I think the first stage is, let's see if we can try and get something out of it. Okay, so I've got the back of the radio. This is the battery cover, if you can see it. I'll try and angle it so you can see it on the camera. Just move the little strap out of the way. So we'll pop in some AA batteries, first of all, just on the off chance that it actually will work, but I've got a sneaky suspicion that it won't, but let's give it a try. Little pesky strap out of the way. It's a brand new, so they should be okay. I'll pop the cover back on just to stop the battery coming out. Let's just give it a try. This is the volume and that is the tuning. Ooh, we have success. Didn't think it was going to work. I'll turn that off. That's good. I didn't think that was actually going to work. What I am going to do though, I noticed that the contacts were very oxidised, so I'm going to try a trick. And there we go. Batteries all over the place. There is a trick I'm being told. If you can use white vinegar, that actually gets rid of the oxidisation. So what I'm going to do is just put some on a brush rather than spraying it in, just to control it better. And I'm just going, I don't know if you can probably see that, but I'll try. It's quite a narrow battery compartment. Put a little strap out the way. It's a good way if you've got that like greeny kind of oxidisation that you get. This is a good way just to dissolve it off rather than scraping with a blunt screwdriver and a bit of sandpaper and all those little wonderful tricks. But putting on a brush, you're just controlling that just that little bit better. So I'm just going to get a cloth. Just going to wipe the excess off now. Sorry you can't see this very well, but not an easy way of demonstrating this, but I'll do that. Right, what I need to find out now is why this is rattling. So there's something definitely loose inside. Now I've never taken this apart, so I'm not sure how to do this. I can see one, if you can see that, in the battery compartment. There's one little screwdriver slot there, but I can't see anything else. So whether or not this actually is the one to do it, I don't know. But I'm going to take that out. It'll come out. And it's loose. Do you know what? I don't know if you've noticed, but on the ends you got the strap connectors that screw on. I've got a sneaky suspicion they're actually clamping together the halves of the radio as well. So I'm just going to undo those. And again I'll try and do it so you can actually see what I'm doing. Because these look like clamps as well as for actually just securing the strap. And one pings off. Let me do this other one. get in. There we go. Eventually, put those to one side. Oh, it comes off. So let's just see what happens. Woohoo! It does indeed. What have we got? Ah, that's why it's rattling. Now if you can see, the medium wave, long wave aerial has actually snapped out. Now then, will that come back in? Because there's already a sign of glue there, look. So I think we may have to do a little bit of gluing. But other than that, I think we actually have a functional radio. So let's see if we can get this glued in place. Okay, so I'm just going to now glue the aerial back in place, and if you can see, I think somebody's actually been there before me because there's evidence there's some glue, but we'll try it again and see if we can actually get that into place and actually get it to stick. So I'm just going to use just some simple hot melt glue. I'm just going to actually put that in the two receptacles there, and whilst it's still hot, I'm hoping that will place itself down. I'm just going to hold it just for a few seconds until it actually goes off. And then we can always put a little bit more around it once it has. So I just need to be careful that I don't get the arrow wires in there. So we're not 100%, but and if you can see this, but I'm going to try and do it so you can. So I'm just going to put another little bit on the post, another little bit there. Don't do too much on that side, and a little bit around that side as well. Get rid of the little stringy bits that you always get with hot melt glue. Okay, I'm hoping you can see that. But there we have that glued in. So again, just going to let that just for a few minutes. I was just propping that up with the screwdrivers. Whilst that is just going off, I think you can see this is actually quite a well made set, despite its plastic case looking rather sort of basic. A lot of the transistors have actually got little insulated sort of parts on the legs, and if you can see that, it's difficult to do, but there. So they've obviously taken time to make this into a quality board, I should say. If you notice, it's got two output transistors there. I think because they look like flying saucers or top hat ones, I think that people are sometimes referring to, that actually I think these may be germanium, and then I think the rest are silicon. Again, if you know better than me, please let me know. I'm doing this just literally just as I find it. So I think we've got that more or less glued in place. So I think the next bit, we're just going to try a bit of switch cleaner, and then we'll see if we can assemble it back together and see how she performs. Okay, incidentally, I also found out what the other rattle was. That was a little piece off that aerial support bracket that had broken off, so I think we can dispense with that. This is a volume control, so I'm just going to put some switch cleaner in there if I can, whilst it's open, and where it can do that. It's difficult to get because it's a very tiny slot. Let me just get that a little bit of a well from underneath. It's actually quite well made, because I don't know if you can see, but they've even put just a little sort of bent over piece that the screwdriver holds in place, just to hold those wires in place. So I'll give him the credit, he looks better on the inside than it actually does on the outside. So anyway, let's see if we can put this back together. This is just the bit on the outside that gives you access to both an auxiliary supply and also then the earphone socket as well. So again, good features. This just if you can see, literally just slides into the mouldings there. So now assembly, I'm hoping, is going to be, whoops, make sure that aerial, the wires don't get mixed up there. So okay, so let's pop back the little brackets and the screws. Okay, so we're going to reassemble the radio. First I'm going to do the little screw that's in the battery compartment. So we'll screw that down first. There we go, the head's not the best on that. And then we're going to do these little tricky devils. So it is a question of needing about 3 hands, but let's see how we go. Let's see if I can start that off with fingers, that's better. And then we'll simply get the screwdriver. It's an unusual way of putting a radio together, and it's unusual that you've got a plastic radio that still has a leather strap. You'd think they'd have like a metal strap or even just a plastic one from the era that this comes from. Oops, let's get the little devil in straight first of all. There we go. Okay, so we're now going to pop the batteries in and keep your fingers crossed that it's going to work. So 1, 2, tell you what, let's put a little red strap in since that was it was there for. 1, 2, 3, and I'll put that down there. 1, 2 and 3, and we'll pop the cover back so the batteries don't spring out. So there we go. So let's see if she still works. Let's see what you're doing. Still works. Very good.
It's probably a little bit too much for him.
Now, a memory that you did just bring up, Stephen, was the last time Arsenal played Man City in an FA 17 in Pep's first season.
It's actually quite impressive for quite a small radio. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to look at literally just clean up a bit and make it a little bit more presentable. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is just look at the strap. This is quite a thin leather strap. I'm assuming it's leather, or could be imitation leather, but what I'm actually going to try is just a little bit of leather cleaner, which just should add a little bit of moisture to it and make it a bit more flexible. So again, just going to get a bit of a rag, pop some on. As you can tell, this is a very well used bottle as it splodges out, but never mind. Just going to put that on. This is not going to win any awards. Sorry, you can't see what I'm doing here, can you? Hands out the way, but we can make it presentable nevertheless. So all that. I hope you can see. Oh, you can see the dirt coming off it. Like, so this thing hasn't done any love for quite some time. So let's see if we can make it a bit more presentable. They even give you like a little metal retainer for the straps so they don't go flying off. So it's actually quite decent. So what I'm going to do, let's see if we can shorten this down so it's not all over the place. I'll give you another little hole there. Let's put through. If you can see what I'm doing. It doesn't want to go through because it's probably never come out of that position in its whole of its life. And then if we can pop that through there, get some of the cleaner. That's more like it, isn't it? So it's not flopping everywhere, it's a bit more usable. So how are we going to clean this? I think what we're going to do, just use a little bit of standard foam cleaner, pretty neutral sort of stuff. It's just a plastic case, so I don't think it's going to hurt it. So I'll just put just a little bit on. Again, just a rag to get some of the dirt off, get the corners. As you can see, definitely hasn't seen any love for some time. So let me see if I can take these off, and I can, so that will get in there just that little bit easier. There we go. And then what we'll do is just do the same for the sides and the back. Again, I'll move it so you can try and see what I'm doing. There we go. This is just making it so at the end of the day it looks like somebody actually owns it. Foam cleaner is pretty good. It normally doesn't take the colour off things, but if you're always in doubt, just test a bit first. This is plastic, so I'm not too bothered. And then the last little bit. Okay, so there we have it. I'll tell you what I'm going to try though, is because it's plastic, a little bit of dashboard cleaner that you use on your car, it might just bring it up just that little bit. So rather than squirting on the radio, I'm just going to squirt it on. I'll tell you what, turn the trigger on first, on a rag, and just give it a wipe over. And if nothing else, it'll make it smell nice, because it's this cleaner's actually got a nice smell to it. Let's move those out of the way. Okay, so going around, trying to do this so you can see it. Was that a little bit awkward? Okay, and then I'll just get a rag just to, not enough. I think what it just does, it just gives the colour a little bit more definition. It's never going to be a handsome radio, is it? But you don't see them that often now, so it is worth doing it. There's a bit of gunk on the side there, if you can see. Let's just get a bit more foam cleaner on that, first of all. Get a clean bit of rag, see if that'll come off better. Yeah, that's better. There we go. If we're going to do it, let's do it. Pop that in. Okay, and we'll just put a tiny little bit more dash cleaner on there. And there we go. Doing a bit of research, quick research on the internet. I think these were still being produced in the 1990s, so I know a basic radio. It had quite a long life. Let's pop the little knobs back. There we go. Okay. So there we go. That one, wrong position. Because that one's got the little white line, if you can see that, so you know when it's off and on. Just take it around as well, besides the power and the air connection. There's also a connection for an aerial, so obviously in Russia, if they're on fringe areas, I guess they just put an external aerial, I mean perhaps a bit of wire or something else that was available, but there we go. So turn on again, try the other stations or the other bandwidth. There we go. I'm quite happy with that. It actually worked out quite well. So there you go. There you have it, I should say. Russian radio. I'm guessing early mid 1880s, 1980s even. 1880s. That'd be a miracle, wouldn't it? Yeah, let me know what you think. If you've got some more information, I'll be really pleased to hear from that. Just so if in the background, just to kind of finish off, I've got two more Russian radios. I've got one which is this Vega. Know nothing about it. Again, I've just bought these just from, as I say, like tabletop sales, that sort of thing. I'm guessing again, maybe mid-late 1980s. I've not done anything to this, I've not even powered it up, but I'll have a look at that in another video. And then finally, I've got this Selga one. This one I like. It needs a good clean, as you can probably tell, but I actually like just because of the colours that they've used. For a Russian radio, you'd think again to be like the black one, pretty somber, but this is actually quite well thought out. 7 transistors, and it makes a point of saying that it's got 7 transistors out. I'm guessing late 60s, perhaps just turning into the early 1970s. But again, if you're interested, let me know, and I'll do a video on that one as well. So there we go. One Russian radio with the aerial put back in place, battery connections sorted out, bit of a clean, and it's a happy radio. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch up with you soon.